Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so we're going to call the meeting to order. And the first item up is approval of the agenda. Does anything need to be changed or added?
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Everybody opposed to that? Okay, we have an agenda. And we'll move directly into approval of the board minutes. And you'll see on there there's 4 sets. Probably have had time to look over them by now.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any last words? I think everybody was here, right? Okay. Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed to that? Okay, we have the minutes approved. And that, rushing as hard as I can get to you, Judge. So that takes us directly into a discussion on coaches' pay. Mr. Cox.
I understand this is information only. Back in March, I believe I came to the board and requested a 5% raise, and you rightly so said make it 10. Of course, that was before the budget came out. And I felt I better meet with the athletic director, so I met with them on April 29th to get their input and invited all of them to a meeting and went through what they wanted or would like to see happen. And then I listed in the order that they'd like to see it done. The first item was they would like to see their athletic directors, and this was middle school and high school, supplement scale be moved to the same as the head football coach. The AD scale is fairly low, and so they asked to be moved up, and according to my estimates, I took last year's contracts and used those, and the difference would be around $7,000 if we went to that. They then asked for an increase in coaching supplement of 10%. Again, this is an estimate cost on mine of $34,000, may be low. We have to pay benefits. Ms. Harrell would be the better one to give a exact. I just again took last year's coaching supplements and looked at each one of them and added them up. But they asked to increase the high school football coaches, and again, this were the 4 middle school ADs were there, increase theirs 15% instead of the 10, because they felt like they did so much more work. And I listed that because that was one of theirs. You know, the head football coach, in my opinion, he gets paid a stipend for weightlifting. He has the opportunity to do a stipend for 2 fields. And if we increase those 10% plus the 10% for the regular one and increase the field cost, which is the next item, they're going to have a pretty healthy increase for the head football. Would not affect the assistants. Right. But so that's what they asked for as step 2.
Joe, is the 34,000 you got there, does that include the 15 or is that all 10?
The 34 includes just 10. And I did not do the 15% because I didn't agree with it, but thought I needed to present it to you. Infield care, the field care increased $350 per field. Most high schools have 4 to 5 fields. Middle schools are looking at 3 each, so it's $350 depending on which school for each field.
Is that per season? Because
No,
at some of your
that's
high
for a
schools,
year.
a year.
If I cut the baseball field right now at Washington High School or North Side, South Side, I'm going to get $400 for 12 months. If you give me a $350 raise, that's going to be $750 for the year. Picking up that field, we're going to take care of weed eating, cleaning the lines or whatnot if we need weed killer or whatnot, and cutting the grass, making sure it's fertilized. And I do that for the entire year. So we're going from $400 to $750 per field for an entire year.
Now, at Washington, their football field is used for more than football, so how does that play into this?
One person gets between the athletic director and the principal, it's their decision who they're going to allow to cut it. I believe at Washington High School, sport gets paid to cut the football field and the practice field, as does each football coach at each high school. And that was part of, at one time, the head football coach got paid all field care. The county did not receive a stipend for cutting the fields before we merged, and we were doing it. They were getting $500 in 1980, and when we merged, it got cut to $400, and then the other ones started getting it also.
So whoever maintains, let's say it's sport, but whoever maintains the field, are they expected to also then maintain it for the soccer? Spring and fall, because you have soccer there spring and fall,
Right.
so are they, that increase is
Sport is
for
required to keep
maintain the field for whatever sport's
right.
being played?
As is Southside's football coach and Northside's.
Okay.
Okay, so that was
So
field care.
that's $750 regardless to how many times they cut the field?
That's correct. If they fertilize it, they're going to have to cut it at least 3 times a week. And they have to fertilize it to get it growing if they want to have a nice-looking field at the start of the season. If you get a chance to ride by and look at the fields, they take a lot of pride in them.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a lot of work.
I just felt like in that instance, there's a lot more maintenance that potentially could be involved because you've got to maintain it for spring sports.
That's true. Well, they just have to cut it. They don't,
They don't have to line it or anything?
no, that each coach lines his field, it takes care of his area. If I'm the
Okay.
wrestling coach, I'm gonna roll the mat out. If I'm volleyball, I'm gonna make sure the net's right,
Okay.
proper, their head coach gets a little bit more money, and depending on the sport, usually, if there's a field involved, if you look at the stipends, it's a little bit higher to be a baseball coach than a volleyball coach, because they
Right.
do have to line off the field and get everything right before each game.
Right, okay.
Okay, they asked to be paid $25 for driving a bus for an away game. That was one of their requests. They felt like they should be compensated for driving. I told them I would take it to the board, and I have. My estimate on going from last year's away games at $25 per away game was $11,450.
Now, if they don't drive, are we paying
Only
somebody
one
else?
person would be paid to drive, whoever was driving the bus.
And how much is that person paid?
You mean right now?
Yes.
Nothing. No one's paid anything.
This is to pay somebody to drive a bus.
Right.
So no one's
It's
being
not necessarily
paid to
coach.
drive any buses
No,
at any
The
time
only time
for
you have a bus
athletic
driver
events?
paid is if, for whatever reason, the coach does not have a bus license or a CDL license, and they have to pay a bus driver to drive the bus to the away game for the team.
Okay.
Then they are
I
paid
didn't
the
realize
regular
nobody was
rate,
getting paid.
which is fairly high.
Right.
They're-
That's a lot of responsibility for
Sure is.
$25.
It sure
And
is.
Most of the time now, they don't use a bus driver because the bus drivers are having to drive buses when the team's leaving to go to a ball game, so they're using other coaches. So if the,
Right.
say at Northside, if the volleyball coach doesn't have their license, then a basketball coach or
Right.
cheerleading coach or somebody else has to go drive for them. And that person's going away from their sport or away from their time
Yeah.
with their family to drive the bus with nothing to get out of it.
A little something better than nothing, I reckon.
25 for one trip isn't much either.
That's right.
Depending on where you're going, Manio or...
Yeah.
Right. The total looks like a lot, but when you consider the responsibility,
But when you take
I wouldn't want to do
each
it.
trip and add it up, it adds up to around 11.5.
Get the cost.
Lastly, they asked to increase the steps from, we at the present have a scale with 0 to 20, and they want to increase it from 20 to 30, which is really 29, like a teacher scale. That would only affect about 4 or 5 individuals right now that have 20 years of experience. We at one time were on a 30-step scale, and it was reduced to 20 to try and give them a raise without giving them a raise. So they're asking to go back and add those other ones in there. And like I said, we do not have, I went through and looked at it, and we had about, see if I wrote it down here, left it on my desk. We only had about, Keith Boyd has been at Northside for a long time, he's only at 17. coaching varsity football, I think. And Mike Proctor is at 32. Southside, I don't think, had anyone. There's maybe a guy who had transferred in, was assistant football, was right at 18 or 19. But there's very few that are going to be at 20 or higher. So that was their request from the meeting, to do one first, do the rest of them if there was money. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Joe?
Just a few comments I'd like to make. I've been talking with Joe about this for, 6 months or better. And he told me, which I didn't realize when we first started talking about it, that our coaches have not had a supplement increase since 1992. Is that correct?
I think it was the year we merged, 91.
91?
91, 92, somewhere in there.
No, we didn't merge until it was.
Other than when we went from 30 to 20.
Right.
That was sort of increase.
94.
Yeah, if you compare what we paid to some of the counties, which I know you don't have to pay just because other counties pay.
We're extremely,
But
we've always
we
been
are-
low. When I came here, we were low.
Yep.
And,
We're not even in the game with them at
Yeah,
all.
even with these increases, it don't
That's
even get us
nothing.
close to a lot of
It
the
wouldn't.
neighboring counties, what they're paying. But, I think it would show some appreciation to our coaches that if we could give them some type of increase.
Okay, well, this conversation's been needed to have, so at least we've started it. But
My recommendation would be to give, if it's only 5%, and try to, and I know you can't do it down the road, but if you can give 5%,
Just try
go with the mindset we're going to do this every year
to get it there.
till we get to where they need to be, rather than try to come in and give it all at once.
I did look at some, not just neighboring counties, but counties that are even smaller than us, and we're even below
It's-
some
it's
of them,
real,
which
yeah,
was
it's unreal.
embarrassing. And knowing just firsthand how much time they put into it. And I don't know of anybody that's coaching for the money. They're coaching because they love the sport and they're dedicated to these kids, and we can at least show appreciation for it.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks. We'll, let's look over it. and
Okay, do
see
we
what-
have another
No,
thing for me?
we'll do that in closed session.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate the work. Okay, first action item is Mark. He's up.
Good afternoon. What you have in your packet is a quotation for the renewal of our Microsoft Enterprise Education Agreement. This software bundle effectively drives everything we do in Beaufort County with regards to technology, except for a few of the cloud offerings and some of the Apple or Chromebook offerings. But it drives a significant amount of what we do with regards to technology for software. This would be the fourth year that we'd be renewing this. The first time we did it, we did a three-year option. What I'm asking the board, if possible, and I've talked with Ms. Harrell, we're still working on the final FTE numbers, which is how it's funded by staff and teachers. And this 915 was based on 3 years ago, and I know that's come down. So this figure will come down, but I'm asking if the board would allow us, if we were able to look at the three-year option, if we could get either Ms. Harold or Dr. Phipps to sign that in the month of August as a three-year option instead of using a one-year option, if we could tie in some pricing for the next 3 years. And Ms. Harold has indicated that the contract would need to be specific in the fact that as money is available in those years 2 and 3. But also, this is basically an operational expense that we cannot ignore.
Right.
Could you
This is
say,
a have-to-have.
Yes, sir. We look at it, we evaluate it and determine as we go through it. Like as we go forward and we start probably getting a larger impact of Chromebooks and things like that, there's going to be a break point maybe of when we can buy these packages a la carte and actually own the product. But what this allows us to do is continuously upgrade with the latest and greatest Office and operating system and things like that. It's we really get good pricing, especially on things for like our data center edition, $270 for a data center edition of Microsoft, and it's usually probably $3,000 or $4,000 for businesses, a tremendous deal, so.
Is this the same company we've been working with?
Yes, ma'am, SHI has the contract, the state contract for the enterprise agreement.
And there is a potential savings if we sign the 3-year, or it's just, it prevents it from going up?
Well, what happens is Microsoft will every once in a while change their licensing. For instance, I'm probably going to bore you in a second here, but they're going from a core model to a specific more core model with their newer pricing, and it could be more expensive to license some of these options. But I don't think it'll be enough of a difference once I maybe get the pricing that it might matter if we do the 3-year option. But I just wanted to know if it was that, if I could get permission. If not, we'll just go ahead and do the 1 year and proceed as normal.
Is the 3-year paid annually, or is it paid at one time?
This amount is paid annually.
The amount we're looking at
Yes,
here.
sir.
So we wouldn't be coming up with 180, 190,000 to pay 3 years?
No, ma'am.
You pay
No,
still
ma'am.
out in the
That's
3
correct.
period.
You would pay this amount, and then we'd look at it again next year, and I could drop some things from it. I can't change the FTE count on it, though, because that's throughout the contract life for 850, whatever it would be. But it could be that we could reduce some of the other things, but most of those we need. We're pretty tight on what we have here anyway with regards to what we use.
But basically, you're just asking us, this is the annual amount to give you approval to seek out for 3 years to see if it's less than 3 times this, but it won't be more than that.
No, it will not be more
Right.
than this.
Okay.
That's correct.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
And once we approve it, then it's just between you and Ms. Harrell, right?
And
to
with
work
Dr.
out.
Phipps, too,
Right,
yes.
to work
But
out
you're
the
asking for that approval?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's correct.
We're giving them up to 3 years of
Yeah.
what we have in front of us.
It
Okay.
sounds pretty
Yeah,
good.
makes sense.
Because we have to do this final negotiation in the month of August, and
Okay.
I didn't want to get to the last board meeting and then have an issue.
We have here.
Right, that's what I was going to say, 3 years not to exceed the amount we have in front of us. That's why I was asking you to be
Right,
that.
as per year.
Per year,
Yes,
right.
okay.
That's where we
Yes.
came up with the 195.
Right.
Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
sometimes when you do
Okay.
that, they
Well,
want it up front.
Okay, well, I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Yes, EC
You
did.
got it already? Any other last questions? Somebody just
radar-
spoke, I think
Yeah.
somebody just spoke in on it.
That was the third.
That was the third. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed to that? Wait for the thunder to hit. Okay. Didn't oppose that time.
I really
All right,
appreciate it.
thank you, Mark.
Thank you. It is, the weather's bad to the north of us, really bad.
Let's hope it stays to the north at least a while longer.
Thank you.
Not
Thank
trying to wish
you.
the people north of us any bad luck, but. Stan Hudson, got some capital update information and quite a few pictures, and I guess you must be going to tell us something about these pictures.
Yes, sir. Just give you a brief update of what's been completed so far our summer.
What do you want us to open first? There's so many tabs.
Capital update.
Capital
Capital
update.
update tab.
You got it printed out here somewhere, found on the paper.
Southside cupola windows have been repaired. The work was completed by Glass Tech of Greenwood in the amount of $7,834.
Stan, will you put, or if you remember, to put the bid amount on that line?
Yes,
So we can see
Miss
that.
Jody's been out, and that's why I asked for updated sheets so I could update my numbers, but in the future, I will continue.
That's
Right.
Yeah.
Southside VCT in rooms G138 and 152 were replaced, and it was covered by design of Washington in the amount of $4,429.75. Southside soundproofing in the band room was completed by PC Sound of Washington in the amount of $19,999.85, and it made great differences in the
Did
room.
it make a lot of difference?
Yes, sir. Band director and I were in there yesterday, and it made big difference in the room.
Not a moment too soon.
Yeah. Northside VCT in rooms 101, 103, 201, 203, or 202, 203, and the cafeteria have been completed and was installed by G.W. Walker and Son in the amount of $28,650. Northeast Elementary Media Center carpet has been completed. A joint effort between G.W. Walker and Plant Ops to put all those bookshelves back, but it did a good job, and it was completed in the amount of $11,046. And there's another note non-related to capital, as Northeast Elementary's walking trail has been completed, and that was paid for by KB Reynolds. Any questions about the completed projects?
No, I took that and just cross-referenced it to 15-16, which clears up a lot of projects.
A lot of projects.
In other words.
And
plus
we have
some of the-
quite a few more on books
Plus
for the
the
next few
summer ones that
weeks.
you're getting ready to tell us about.
Right. There was two in the 14-15 that we've been carried over The north side light guards and automotive, and the ag classroom, they were installed by plant ops electricians. The cost of the guards were $2,108.97. North side had been already upgraded to T8 fixtures, so that's why there's quite a bit of difference in the monies between the two. It wouldn't really that much more fixtures. And by switching Washington High School to T8 fixtures and light guard, we were able to cut the lights back, the actual amount of lights. So that's why that number is not so drastically too. But plant operations completed installation in the masonry, carpentry, and agriculture shops in the amount of $3,269.22, and that cleans up the old jobs.
Yeah.
Anything that was out there.
That's good.
Current jobs that are underway right now is S.W. Snowden, locker rooms and restroom renovation. This work is being done by G.W. Walker and Son. The demo is complete, and they're actually going to start putting tile back tomorrow. Eastern Elementary multi-purpose building, we had our final punch list last Thursday. MHA's completed our package, and I got it today at our groundbreaking ceremony. Our warranties actually started on 7/29/16. So there's one or two issues. There's motion detector bad in the bathroom that's a warranty issue, and there's one overhead light in the gym that was shipped defective, but we're waiting on a warranty replacement on it to finish that up. Any questions about our work done?
Are those drain lines on the, I guess it's the west side of that building, are they gonna stay like that?
No, sir, we're gonna bury them. We're getting adapter boots and put them down and put them out in. They will be done by plant ops. Any other questions? Very nice facility. Hope y'all enjoy
Yeah, it
the ones that
was.
did show up today. Hope they enjoy it. I'm seeking action on tonight is the Eastern Elementary Pod 1, 2, and 3 enclosure. We had our pre-bid meeting on 7/20. We had 4 general contractors to attend on 8/28/16 at 2 p.m. We had our bid opening. The low bidder was Stocks and Taylor. This was all conducted by MHA Works. Base bid was $205,400, with an alternate bid of $18,500 for the handicap door operators with single button remotes. It is my recommendation that Beaufort County Schools enters a contract with Stocks and Taylor of Washington to build the design enclosure at Eastern Elementary in the amount of $223,900. This would include the handicap alternate bid.
Okay. And Lisa found the 18,500 was on the back of the contract. It didn't print on here, and you got that for us. Yeah. It's on here.
F5.
Yeah, I just haven't F5'd it, but it's on here now. So the total was the 223,900.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Stan, where does that, I think I asked this question in an email or text. We did 34,000 in design?
Yes, sir.
And then that didn't include what we've already done, the enclosure part, right?
Not in the previous.
How much was that?
23.
Okay, so we're still coming in.
We're still under our 300, yes, sir.
That should put us about 25,000 underneath.
Underneath our projected
Okay.
300.
We talked about it, I need to expedite the schedule and.
Well, they're ready to start the work tomorrow. They're actually wanting to bring the glass company to start taking down the existing glass wall, and they want to start demo as soon as we can get contracts signed.
Well, if it gets approved in a few minutes, we'll sign it tonight before we leave. Go ahead and tell us about the Ed Tech, and we can just take a vote on both of them at the same time.
Very good. The Ed Tech cafeteria door project is the door we wanted to raise the door. I met with structural engineer, Mr. Mark Roy, and he's actually done some other work for us there at Eastern. And he's here in Washington. He gave us a quote not to exceed $800 to do the design of how to properly move the door frame and do the support of the wall. You know what it is? It's a cantilevered porch. Dr. Phipps and I looked at it. It's actually made into the building. And it is the lintel, it's the whole support there, and it's a porch that comes out. So then, once we raise the door, then we'll have to do a little awning above it too, would be a part of the project. But we need to have this step before we can actually determine the true cost of fixing the door.
And we had, if I'm looking at it right, 3,400 set aside.
Set aside, that's correct, yes, sir. So we just asking permission to spend $800 over 3,400.
Yeah, okay.
Were those a set of doors we already had?
We have the doors and frame to go there, yes, sir.
So what expense would be left then?
Then the mason to come in to do the block work, whatever structural steel maybe have to put in for lintels, interior and exterior, because we have a block wall and exterior masonry wall. So whatever he designs there says needed for load calculations, so.
You're not going to
cut out. But I won't know till I get a design, yes, sir. We got to raise it 8 inches, so.
Do some of the work. Any questions on those projects? Before we take a vote or consider taking a vote? Okay, what's the
So
board's
the
pleasure?
doors are gonna knock off that much of the projected, funds that we had for that?
Yeah, he's already got the door, he
I
already
know
had the
that,
doors.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, we got 3,400 set aside, but he's asking you for 800 tonight, and once they write the design, then we'll know.
Then we can see what it's gonna take to actually put the
Yeah,
doors
then-
in. It may be less than what we have budgeted, it may be more, may have to
Right,
come
we
back and
won't-
ask for
but
some
we
more
won't
money,
know
but I
until
won't
we
know
do
till we
it.
have a design and get some prices from some local people to
Right.
what has to be done.
But we can't ask for a bid out till we know what we need.
I gotta have a scope.
Right.
What's the timeline on both of those? How quickly can they get that door? Is that going to be done before school starts at Ed Tech?
It can't possibly be done. He said he could turn it around within a week and have my design back, so then we could
Uh-huh.
put it out and see if we can get it.
Good.
What our
And
budget threshold number is, it should be under it, so we should
Depends
be
on how
able
much
to go
money
and
we
make
have
it
to
do.
spend, I
And with
guess.
right.
Stocks and Taylor wanting to start right away, what's their turnaround time?
They're hoping they can get the concrete cut out and all concrete put back before the start of school.
But
The
that-
walls will not be, the walls got a long lead. They can put the actual aluminum structure itself could be put in places. They could start building it once the concrete is put back, but then they have to order all the glasses after the
Is
aluminum
that going
is
to be
in
done
place.
off-site? Are they going to build those structures on-site? You know, some of
It just
what
comes together and snaps like a big Tinker Toy set and locks together. Once they start cutting, it just literally snaps together.
because it's going to shut down the use of those sidewalks.
Yeah, we worked through it before to get it done during the school days when they're in between their classes and stuff. Miss Dana worked with their schedule.
Shouldn't take them that long to put the framework up.
That's it.
I wouldn't think, but.
And then the glass can be put in after hours. The
Right, they
glass
could-
just comes in and it
Right,
basically
so-
snaps in too, so.
They could use those sidewalks without the glass as long as the
That's the
framework has
plan.
been
That's what
finished.
we
and-
had a little pre-meeting, but we want to have another one Thursday morning. If y'all approve the contract to proceed with them, we have a meeting at 8:30 Thursday morning with the contractors and Miss Dana and MHA to do our final.
And you've impressed upon them
Project.
the
Yep,
the
they know.
urgency.
Yeah, the concrete
Selden
work's the
had-
big one.
Mr. Taylor, Selden Taylor has a son at the school that's involved there, so he's very aware of the situation and
So-
routing of children, and
So we've got a reason to prod him along.
that's it.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion on both of these projects.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Okay, have a motion. Did I hear a second over there too?
Yeah, Ms. Booth.
Okay. Any last questions? If not, all in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, don't let us forget.
So moved.
We'll sign everything before we leave and get you working.
All right.
Get somebody working, how about that? What do you got here, notification of new issues?
We had a few issues.
I think I know what they are, but I'd rather you say them.
Well, Washington High School modular unit, this is one we're going to have to add to our 16-17 capital. The VCT is coming loose in the room. We had several small-scale issues in the past. We've had moisture and stuff. When the custodial staff started to refinish the floor, when they went in to sweep the room, the tiles just came up. There's two pictures attached of W138 and 136. They're just
Yeah.
completely loose. They're come unadhered from the particle board. So talked to two different people about ways to fix it, and we can potentially go in and take the tile out, put a felt paper down, and then a hardboard down so we can re-adhere VCT or carpet, depending on what y'all choose to go with in the future in the modulars. The floors are pretty sound in those.
We fixed the issues where they were so soft.
Yes, ma'am, that's been fixed. But now it's what it is the sand has got under the glue, and we think it's from the custodians and their process of stripping the floors and leaving the stripper down there, and it's just completely released it from that OSB board. Is it loosened the glue?
You
but
don't
it's
think there's
just-
any moisture issue underneath
We
them?
checked it, and it was like 22%. And we've been underneath the modular, and underneath is dry, so there's nothing underneath. All the plastic's in place, all the insulation's in place. So
But you
this
don't
will be
have
a
a-
patch, but it would be something we need to add to our
Did you-
16, 17 capital.
Did you just say the tile's on OSB board?
Yes, sir.
That's your problem.
3/4 inch OSB single lay.
Well, that's your problem right there.
Exactly.
That's,
And it is a patch, because you will never
Yes.
fix that to replace it.
Yeah, it'll keep
It'll keep
coming up.
doing it.
And is that, because I looked at the picture, so is that something you're going to try to address
What are you
prior to
gonna
the
do
start
about
of school?
if y'all approve me a 16 budget and let me spend some money, yes, ma'am.
But is
Well,
there
we're
a
gonna do
price
that later
attached?
tonight.
Is
No,
there a
ma'am,
price?
I didn't know to
So I
proceed
don't know,
from. We just
what are
found out
approving?
yesterday.
Oh, so we
Nothing.
don't,
There's
We're
no
not
action,
approving
just
anything.
information.
This is just information.
No, this is notification.
Notification.
I gotcha,
Excuse me.
I gotcha.
Not
Notification of
information, notification.
unforeseen issues. And the next one we're planning to fix in our plant operation, general maintenance budget at Washington High School.
What's the leak?
We discovered a major leak outside the concrete of the entrance on the left side between the school
Go
and
back
there.
and see the pictures.
We were able today to locate the pipe. We have not located the leak. The plan showed there'd be a valve between the school and the performance art. We dug a place 30-foot wide and 120-some foot long, and we never located a vertical upright for a cutoff valve. So we've ordered some valves where we can put in and cut and glue in. It is PVC, but we will put a valve outside performing arts so we can isolate it. And we think this may be our leak that we've had in our pit, because it's right at the highest point of the property. And we think we've had it been going through the pit prior to, and since we finally got the pit sealed up, we think the water's found a new way out outside the yard. So this may have been a long-term leak we may have had. Russ is, and Mr. Pete's pulling the water bills to see if we've had any spike recently or anything in that, see if we can find out where our water's been going. This next one is one that y'all heard of plenty of times, CPS modular. We have one there, and have a picture of the campus attached in there of the 3 trailers. It's the very back one, the one I have the cloud drawn around. It is in poor condition, state of non-repair.
Are they able to move those 4 classrooms to the other ones? Have they
Yes, sir.
found? Has she found places for
Well,
them?
she can do it. There'll be some classroom sharing, I think, going on with some teachers, some teachers that come in at certain times and work with certain kids, but it would take some scheduling, but
She can work it out?
I think she can. She says she can, but it is in very, very bad shape. I can read you or tell you, but we actually, the custodians were there to start their cleaning, to get ready, and leaned against the wall, and his hand went through the wall. That's when he called us, and I went over, and it's over 70% moisture in the interior wall. So, the exterior wall, there's 2 pictures attached of the exterior wall. It is OSB board.
Same stuff.
Exterior, and it's
Masonite.
26 years,
You don't have to-
27.
You don't have to tell me.
It's aged out, it's just time, it's something that everything goes on with it. They've overlived their life, there's no eave, there's no overhang.
I
so-
nearly pushed through it about 3-4 months ago, so you don't have to tell me what it's like. It's in terrible condition.
Well,
The other one's done. I haven't really looked at them that close. I just happened to be on the backside of the one he's talking about, and it's terrible. And we're not going to decide tonight on that, as far as what to do with it, but what would you think down the road? We decide we're not going to be using it, what are we going to do with it?
It needs to be
Nobody-
removed from the
I can tell you,
property.
nobody-
It's going to eventually develop mold. The
Yeah,
conditions
but-
get right, it's being cool enough, kept cool enough now that we need to move out of it and condemn it.
But you don't need approval from us on anything here, just work it out with her to get the classrooms out.
Correct.
Can you-
Then I need approval from y'all to get it removed in the
Just come
future,
back to us when you think we need to get rid of it, and how's the best way
once
to
we
do
get
that?
out of it.
Cheapest way for us to get rid of it, somebody take it.
I know we've talked about this before, and we've talked about trying to get away from modulars. I think this is just proof in the pudding right now that, you know, you might as well just take the money and open that door and just throw it right out there, because they're sorry. They've served their purpose.
And these are beyond where I would start repairing them anymore.
We
No
just
more,
don't
throw any
always-
more good money after these things.
We
Yeah,
just don't
the
always have
floor is very
places for
soft
those
in
kids.
this particular unit.
Yeah, okay. Well, work with the principal to get those classrooms out and come back to us and tell us what you want to do with it.
All right.
I don't think you'll have a problem with us. Well, let's see, actually, I got your name on the next item too. You handling that, Stan, the 16-17 budget, or you and Don together?
We'll talk through it. And we went
Okay.
through this the last meeting just to give you an idea, to put some recommendations down, and ask you to take a look at it and see if you had any feedback. And what Terry asked us to do, the first attachment that you have is the actual capital budget proposal. It has all of the items on it that came up to a total of 1.8 million. And we highlighted in yellow the things that we took out of there. And the process that we went through, we had about $132,000 to work with. And we tried to go through and make sure that we were doing something that was representative across the county. And then also some system-wide projects like asphalt. And you see that reflected. What we did keep intact from the original conversations were the safety and security issues, which includes that camera and camera system upgrade of $300,000, total of about $900,000 to do the whole work. We were going to phase it in over 3 years. We retained 300,000 there. We can scale that back if we have to do something in an area, but I felt like we had to keep, we told the commissioners we would, keep the egress doors and the things that we were talking about for security in the building as our top priority, and we have those listed. And then we've gone through, and obviously if we've got 132,000 to spend, the other items are smaller dollar items, but they're things that we feel like need to be done.
So what you're saying is anything in yellow highlighted are items that we are going to do if the board approves?
Right.
Right. If it's not highlighted, then it's not going to be done if you approve this.
And another way of looking at it would be on the next attachment, and that's where I had broken out for you just those items. And then we had, just for you to see, the items that were on hold for the Eastern Elementary enclosure, and then projects that came in over budget if you wanted to consider those. But the recommendation would be what you see in yellow there.
And as far as the safety, I know we keep talking about the cameras, but I think, and Mac made a good point last meeting, we don't want to be changing anything there, especially without the commissioner's approval. And especially until we know exactly what all the previous items above there will make.
Right.
I say just leave all that safety, security just like it is, and let's see what we can work out.
Saving.
Because we don't know what the bids will come in, and then we'll know when we get through with the work. We'll know what money we have. Because we can always add a project later. You can
I was
always
going
add
to say, if
something.
there's a savings, as long as it's still within capital, let's say something is budgeted at 20,000 and it comes in at 15, we can still use that remaining 5, but does it have to still be capital, Ms. Harrell?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yes, unless you go back to the county commission and they approve moving it to your operating budget.
Which we probably wouldn't want to do since there's so many at that point, we've got so many other projects that we're taking off. We can add one back in based on a need, priority.
Capital project back in.
Right.
Yes, yeah. And if you'll look at this, you'll see some have a capital item and then a recommended capital for 16, 17. The dollar figures may be different. An example will be at Talo, where it says replace bathroom fixtures in 6 bathrooms. When we looked at that, we said we could scale that back to 3 and get started on it, but only do 3, and that's why that's half the cost. And there was another one on the next page if you go down, and that was just looking at what we had originally planned and scaling those back.
Plus, remember, every time we say we save some money, it's nice to always have the fund balance, because I can assure you between now and July or June of next year, something will go wrong somewhere in a school that we are not anticipating, and we'll need money for it. So, emergencies, I guess. And Stan can then come and notify us of that.
That's it.
Okay. Well, I have no problem with the way it's set up, because there's only so many ways you can spend I'm showing it $123,719. There's only so many ways you can spend $123,000. I mean, when you're talking about projects that cost $20,000 and $30,000 a piece. So.
Right.
What's the board think?
I don't have a problem with, I guess my initial concern is, the principals at these schools are always very grateful for whatever we do to improve things at their school, so I want to say that first. They're always very grateful for anything that they get in the way of an improvement. But I would want to know that, and we're trying to spread it around so everybody's getting a piece of the very small pie we're working with, but I'd want to know that the principal feels like out of the things we asked for, that would be at the top of my priority list. Is that too much to ask? Because I'm not at these schools. And I'll just pull one out, Northside Electrical Outlets. Did you spell on this?
Where are you at? What school are you at?
I'm at one where electrical outlets for Northside High School, in
Okay,
room
Northside.
207, that says $6,000. I don't have a problem with that, and I don't.
That's one of his main things. He's wanted it for the last 2 years.
That was
Yes,
my
ma'am.
point, is if Charles said, I need that more than I need anything, because that has been a
I
real
don't think
issue.
anybody said anything, but it's been one of his projects for the last 2 years. They actually already have the computers and do not have the
Right.
outlets to run them.
So I would just
yeah.
want to know that we're doing the most we can for these schools in what their priorities are, because I don't know what their
Well,
priorities are.
I get a list, when we start on this capital list, we request it, we send
Right,
an email out to
right.
all
I know
principals
that.
and their list, and that's what we work from, so it's on his priority list, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I know some of that's a wish list, and between the time they submitted that to now, that may have changed. Because
Right.
on one of the tours, I know a principal said, I know I didn't put this down, but I really need this, so things do change.
Do you want to mention that?
On the north side list, it says it's all HVAC system and ag
Let him
classroom. I
come
thought
up
we
and
just
talk to
approved
us
that
right
last.
now, just we don't get on the
I don't
time.
think that.
It is. It was supposed to be removed.
Oh, okay.
It was in the ag classroom is on the 15, 16.
You want
That's
to do
what I
that before we vote on it?
It's supposed to be done in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Project instead of any others. I mean, they
Okay.
it's not.
There is one other thing that I want to have some information thrown at us real quick. Pete, do you mind coming up and giving us that information on the chiller or towers? I don't think it's going to
Cooling
fit
towers.
into here, cooling towers at Washington High School, but he's got some information to share with us on that. I'm not sure the cost would fit in here at all, but.
Yeah, let me
but we
just
need to
make
see.
one comment. I'm probably following some of the same information you've already got here on your capital project sheets. Let me point out, it's on my last page, I don't know where it's at, but on yours, but under performance contract, items that you have listed for performance contract,
Right.
the cooling towers are listed under that heading. And we have found out that we cannot do this project under a performance contract. And the reason for that is because under a performance contract, the savings that is created from the project has to pay for the project. And so the cost of the project is going to far outweigh the savings that you'd realize it take too long to do it that way. So we've been told that this, it can't be done under a performance contract. And the amount there, the estimated cost, that is an actual quote, but it's excessively high. And so if you see that, and if I looked at that, I'd say, well, I know we're not going to be doing that. So I have a couple.
I was showing an amount. What was the
does
amount,
it?
Pete? Yeah, I was
I
showing an
got
amount.
$326,620.
Okay.
And that is an actual quote for that project. I have two other quotes that were bid on the same project. The second one was $168,000, and the one that I really want to emphasize to you tonight is the third one, that is $96,178. And basically, this is a project that I've been trying to get taken care of for a couple of years now and get it through because I think it's important. We've installed some real high efficiency chillers at Washington, yet we're using old cooling towers. And then to me, it's like putting used oil in a brand new vehicle. We're defeating the purpose of the efficiency of the chillers by not addressing the cooling towers. And I think there is a way, I know funding and all that's a big issue, but I think the way that we can do that is another item that you have on your sheet is the pneumatic valves for Washington High School. That has been on the capital projects for, I think, a couple of years. I remember when it first was introduced. And I think you guys are holding on to that money for different reasons. But anyway, that's $98,000. And so if you look at the low bid that I've got here, and then basically there's two ways of doing it. We got, one of the reasons the bid's low is because it was a different brand of tower. The tower that we have there is Baltimore Air Coil. For whatever reason, their towers are more expensive than the Marley brand, which is the other quote. So you're looking at $72,000 to replace the two towers, or just the tower is $72,000. Whereas a Marley tower, both of them is $48,000. So a significant difference in the price of them there. But anyway, if we go with the Marley tower, and that could be installed, both of them can be installed for $96,178. I will also say that on top of that quotes the tower, but there is a feature, there's some added things that we can add to that, but I wouldn't recommend doing but one, and that would be putting handrails and a ladder on the tower for a safety reason. I wouldn't want our maintenance guys getting up there on the top of that tower and being able to fall off of it. So that is an added expense on these, which is like $5,400, $2,700 per tower. So it's not a big added cost of that. So if you add that feature to the towers, the Marley towers, we were looking at $101,578. And then, of course, you got to add tax to that. So we're looking at $108,000 tax and everything. So that's $10,000. To me, the pneumatic valves at Washington is not that critical. I know it was put in the budget. I think Danny Willard did that, and I'm not exactly sure why that was put in there at the time. But, I mean, to me, as far as priorities and critical issues, the cooling towers supersedes that by far.
Do what?
Can I speak to that?
Yeah, because the 98,000 is part of the enclosure money.
Pete, the 98 that's there was pulled out as, to try to come up with the money to secure the 300,000 for the eastern enclosure. And when that project is finished, if it comes in at close to what we budgeted, that 98 won't be there anymore.
We have most is
We-
25.
What we'll know when that project is complete, what we've got to work with. Now, we do have some capital fund balance, but I don't know what the exact figure is on that now, but that 98, a good portion of that likely will go toward that enclosure. When we were talking earlier this week, I had thought about that's where we had that sitting out there for.
What, according to Stan's figures, what we were looking at is that 25 we just mentioned, but we won't know until the project's done. So the only thing I know we can do is keep these figures, and I wrote down everything Pete was saying, keep these figures here in mind, and once these projects are done, see where it shakes out at, because we won't know until we're through with it, and see how much money we do have left. Then we can come back and make a decision on it. Is that fair enough?
It is.
I mean, I don't know any other way to approach it.
No, and I think as we look through this lighting, Pete and I talked this week, lighting upgrades need to be done, and building envelope issues are critical. And, you know, there's not a source of that kind of money. You know, we're talking about a couple $1 million. So I don't know if it's a special request that we make to the commissioners, or if we look at another performance contract type of an idea. I don't know what what the best avenue would be, but those are the pressing needs. But my concern with this is we've got a high dollar piece of equipment that we purchased at Washington, and we've got to put the material along with it, the types of equipment to help it run the way that it's supposed to, and we may not get the payback.
And then we were told that when we installed these chillers, that we would realize a savings of $22,000 a year with those chillers, but I can guarantee you we're not getting $22,000 as it's set up now with the inefficiency of the cooling tower. So we're defeating the reason we installed them like that, I think.
Well, plus we don't want to do anything that's going to harm what we've already done.
That's right, and I actually asked the guy, and he didn't get back with me today, but these are very high efficiency, very expensive compressors. They're oilless bearings. There's no oil involved in this. I mean, it's suspended magnetically in the shaft. And this thing is spinning at 35,000 RPMs, and they're very sensitive to water temperature in the tower. It has to be, kind of a stable environment there. And when we get these hot days like we had last week, and we've had those chillers lock out several times, and that's really not good for those chillers. But we'll have you a figure, because I want to know myself personally what one of those compressors will cost if we had to replace it. And it's probably going to be up there pretty expensive.
Well, and hopefully if we can go ahead and get on the eastern enclosure, we'll have some more idea for our own self too, how much money we have, so. But I appreciate it. That's what we needed to know. Thanks, Pete. So that carries us back to the original idea to sum this up. We need to just take a look at the 16-17 capital, what Don's presented. If that's what you want to do, we need a motion to move on. Everything that was highlighted.
I move that we go with the recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and everything that's in highlights, that's what we'll be approving. Any last questions?
Before we vote.
Yep.
One quick question, where you've got system-wide painting and system-wide asphalt repair, I mean, like system-wide asphalt repair is 20 grand, and I mean, you're not looking at doing one project, you're going to just go out and try to
We're going to try to
patch
patch what we have, to try to fix the bad potholes, hire a professional company to come in and undercut them, backlay it, put the fabric down and put them back. We were just estimating to do some at each campus. Got a bad one at northeast, bad one at north side. And DOT is going to come in and help us on the bus entrances. So we're just paid doing the student and the public entrance, potholes and repairs at 5 of the schools.
The motion I just made, I want to make sure I'm making the right motion, and that is we are staying firm with our commitment to the safety part that we agreed with the county commission.
It continues on there exactly the way it was presented to them.
Okay, I'm okay with it.
Everything that's highlighted, which shows 466 spent on safety and security, 400 on technology, and then 123 on these various projects. That's what we're looking at approving right now. Is that your motion?
That's it.
Okay. And I had a second?
Yes.
Okay, any last questions one more time? If not, all in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed to that? Okay, now you've got it. Move forward. Yeah, you want to give us some information on custodial contracts. Or actually, not information, it shows an action item, but...
Dr. Phipps and I've basically been working on the due diligence, looking at the RFP and doing it, and what I would like to do tonight is request an extension to the next board meeting for us to finish our due diligence.
And we've met, there are a couple of references. In fact, Stan and I were trying to make contact today. We just cannot get up. We've left 5 messages and we want to come back to you with references. But to be able to continue on with what we need, we still need to have custodial services. So we would request allowance to continue on with the contract that was in place with Image for the month of July and August to get the custodial supplies taken care of that we need. And then we would change the dates of the contract to be the 1st of September. And for whatever term we had originally.
Do you need a motion for that?
Will Image continue on a monthly basis?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I've called him this afternoon, and he said he would continue on a monthly basis until we could make a decision.
Okay. So
That would be
We've got to have the supplies.
$13,509.48 a
We've got
month.
to have the supplies. I said, do you need a motion to continue on with
Yeah, I
them
think we
then?
need to have that to be able to pay the
Move approval.
Okay.
All
Second.
right. Got a motion and a second. I think everybody understood it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Graduation dates. I think that's, graduation dates.
We do this. And
Skipping gears
folks
here.
need to go ahead and plan to work on these. You'll see those printed, but for the public, the early college high school graduation will be on May the 19th at the multipurpose room, Building 10 at the Community College at 7 o'clock. And we're going to do something different this year. All of our other high schools are going to graduate on the same day. It's going to be on a Saturday, and it's going to be June the 10th, which would be the day immediately following the last day of school for students. And we'll have the time and location will be announced later, but we're going to work those out so that those of us that attend will have enough time to get to the different locations. But folks that are just going to graduation at a particular school will just be there at the appointed time and be able to take care of it. But we'll be able to handle the graduations all in one day. Have had several requests. This is something we've tried to do, and for a variety of reasons haven't been able to work it out. But public requests to do this, and then my desire to get it done on one day. We're going to try it this year and see how it works.
Principals buying this?
Yeah.
So am I going to get in trouble with anybody if I say I really like this idea?
I like it. I mean,
Yes, I've been shooting for this for a while, but I didn't think
are you
anybody
going
would
to try
ever
to do them
agree
on one
to it.
location?
No.
Okay. So
They'll be at the regular, where they normally do their
Okay, all
graduation.
same day, just-
And those of us that go will go to those locations, so we don't have to worry about any kind of, changes in terms of the venue or anything like that.
But this takes
We
out
just-
that graduating 1 week and waiting a week. I mean, not graduating, finishing school 1 week and waiting a whole week for some schools to graduate.
Yeah.
This is a much better
And I think
idea.
it's easier for family to get there on a Saturday than it is to do it in the middle of the week.
Absolutely. And there will be an
Wonderful.
allotment of time for us to make it from one to the next.
That's right. Yeah, we'll make sure there's plenty of time to do it.
Thanks to all the principals for agreeing to this, or thanks for going along with it whether you liked it or not. Any other questions right quick? If not,
Does he need,
Okay.
since that's under action, do we need to,
yes, we need to approve this.
do we do that?
We haven't done it yet. I'm
Okay.
waiting for a motion.
Motion to approve.
And a
Second.
second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's when we're going to have graduation. Thank you. I love that. Now I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statute 115C-321 and student records under General Statute 115C-402 and 20 U.S. Code 1232G.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we're in closed session. Okay, we're back in open session.
individually, each one.
Okay, we're back in open session, and the first order of business is to approve the personnel agenda dated today's date.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. Calendar, and I think it's just the dates we already have, right? Set up for
Right.
August.
All right.
Yeah, I'm showing the,
With that special call meeting on the 22nd to deal with any last-minute personnel for any
Yeah.
hires that we've got. That'll be very, very short.
note that time, folks, 8
o'clock.
a.m.
Who
Okay.
came up with that?
Well, he said we had to do it before they go to work.
gotta go to
I can
work.
do it.
Any board member updates?
I got
Okay, superintendent updates.
Just want to let folks know this, we are obviously in August, getting ready for schools to start back. We'll have the Stuff the Bus campaign will be on August the 20th, and then early college starts school this week, and our students go back to the year-round schools on the 29th of August. So we're planning for that and look forward to a great year coming up.
Can't go back to closed session, can I? Next time? Okay. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We walked through the part of it, they're getting ready to, approve contracts tonight and everything.
There you go. This is perfect. It'll be you.
There we go.
So that's coming in the old
Had capital discussions. This project has been on the list, and we finally were able to get it done through the generous contributions of the county commissioners. If you see what we came from to where we're at now, it's just a day and night difference. So we're very grateful, and we're going to stretch this out and go through the official ribbon cutting, and then matches my time.
You had to tighten your drink.
It was all planned. Tighten up.
Get a little tighter up. Let's see how good we like each other. Everybody got together. Get on in there, Rob. Stand up.
Squeeze in there a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit more. Miss Barber can't see you behind.
I don't think you'll cut bugs. They're good.
Caroline, did you get one?
You have another ribbon, don't you? Okay, I was gonna say, because otherwise I won't cut it. All right, everybody will trade scissors and then I'll let you cut it for sure. All right? He's got the reels. Mr. Ham has the reels. Yeah. That's why I asked. I was like,
John, is his dad John Greek sport?
I don't know who his parents are.
I think it is.
Timmy married Nicole Woolman. Tom and
Pam back in there. Mr. Randy out of there.
Y'all want to cheer?
1, 2, 3. Yep, 2, 3.
Yeah, okay.
Go.
It's okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm good. John, good job.
Good design, man.